All right, video time. Yeah, so I just wanted to make a video about letting go. Like my new way of saying acceptance. And I'll explain that now. It's like so. I've been watching and reading books by a gentleman by the name of Dr. David R. Hawkins. He's since passed, I think, in the 2011, 2012, something like that. But he was a very interesting person, and I always found it fascinating just the way he spoke about things and the calm presence he had about himself, right? Much like Eckhart Tolle. And videos. Sorry, but yeah. So I've been, working with anxiety. It's experiencing anxiety since September of 2019. I guess almost going on 2 years now, and now the severity, the levels of it are varying, obviously. So it's at a much more manageable state now than it was, say, for example, I don't know, 6 months ago, I guess, right? But you feel your nerves, everything just straight up calming down, and you're not really just super hyper aware. But the thing is I've been through programs, more than one program. I've worked with all kinds of different modalities of therapists, of coaches, spent heaps of money on things, and it just never really seemed to click, and a lot of that has to do with just my level of what I'm finding is resistance, and just resistance to it all. Even when I'm thinking I'm accepting, I'm still accepting to feel better. I'm still accepting in hopes that the symptoms go away or I start to feel better. And that is not what acceptance is. So in my experience, you had to get to a level of like, you're bipartial to the anxiety. You just don't. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. But I mean, who doesn't want to feel better, right? And so there was always this hope underneath that, hey, I hope I feel better now. I hope I feel better now. Now, that was really much stronger earlier in my journey, from the morning all the way up until I go to sleep. And then it would be sporadically throughout the day, and then it would just kind of be like, okay, it's kind of there in the morning a little bit. I check in to see how I'm feeling a little bit throughout the day, but it's not completely consuming my day anymore, nor is the symptoms of the anxiety is starting to go away. I experienced pretty bad, I don't even want to use pretty bad. I guess it was just, DPDR, depersonalization was a big one for me. And in like 4 months, it was pretty strong, So, just kind of experiencing that, you also want to just, you just want to feel better. And so, I would always blame myself, like, see, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're doing it wrong. You're doing this wrong. You're not supposed to do that. Like, you're supposed to do this. And it's a form of guilt and shame, and it's also a form of resistance. And so, sorry, the video keeps on. So, like, what is it really, And so I didn't understand that. So I thought I was practicing acceptance. I thought I was practicing non-resistance, but I really wasn't, because I had an end goal in mind. I had something that I was trying to achieve, accomplish. And that in itself is resistance to recovery. And so this morning, I thought I would try something different. And so as I was laying in bed, actually it was a dream that I was having in the morning. And so I was having, it was almost like the dream was teaching me how to feel it and do it. And so as I was laying there, sleeping, half awake, half asleep type of deal, I started to, I had an intrusive thought, I guess you can say. But rather than paying attention to what the thought was, I paid attention to how the thought made me feel, and I didn't try to a coping technique to change the way that I feel, if that makes sense. So all I did was I kept the feeling, in essence, going. And so it just kept going. And the thoughts stopped. I didn't have any more thoughts. And then all of a sudden it felt like, it's hard to explain, it felt like just a plume of energy just come up in my head. And I was like, well, you know what? That was interesting, because I felt like complete garbage when that intrusive thought came in. And now it literally felt like a release, almost. Excuse me. Excuse me. Good Lord. But, so, I thought I would try to do it for 10 minutes. After my alarm went off, I put it on snooze for 10 minutes. And I decided to myself, like, I'm just going to lay here and I'm going to use my thoughts as guides to what the real feeling is. And I was doing it. First, it was a shameful thought about just like, oh, you should get up. Like, what are you doing? Like, your alarm went off. Like, get up and go. And then I was just like, okay, I don't really necessarily have to understand the feeling, because again, you're thinking. You don't want to understand the feeling. I just feel the feeling with the body. No judgment. No nothing. Just feel it. And regardless of what it was. And surprisingly, again, it just kind of like, I kind of almost counted. It was like 15 seconds. And it would just kind of stay in there. And then it would just leave. And then the next thought would come in. And then I tried it again. Now, all the thoughts were varying. I mean, there was some were intrusive, some I didn't agree with, some I did, some kept me like, kind of got my anxiety racing a little bit. Some made me feel a little bit panicky, and I'm just like, okay, let's just not pay attention to the thoughts. Let's just pay attention to the feeling. And so that's what I did. And it was, I don't know how to explain it. And it hit me so hard that I wanted to make a video. And even though the video quality sucks and the camera's bouncing around all over the place, forgive me, I'm going to work. I'm driving to work. It's like the only time I kind of have some free time to do stuff like this, because, home life, work life, it gets a little bit, it gets hard to set aside time, right? But that's besides the point. But it's like, you have these things and you don't even know that you're resisting, because you're trying to rationalize, you're trying to think about things. And from what I understand is that all of these things are coming from a deeper part of you, your subconscious part of you. And you have easier access to this realm, like when you're meditating, when you're dreaming. And that's why I pay attention to the dreams, as well. It's just like, what is this part of me that's creating all of this for me, trying to tell me? And today I used it as a guide, and it was fascinating stuff. I just feel different, but I'm not going to get head over heels about it. It's just like, it is what it is. And if something else comes up, it is what it is. And I'll just feel it and not pay attention to the thoughts. And it was amazing to me to see like where all of the thoughts were going here, going here, going here. Eckhart Tolle said something about what makes us any different than an insane person, quote unquote insane person, walking down the street screaming at himself or talking to his hands or whatever it is, right? And he says the only difference is that we're doing it internally, they're doing it externally. And I just kind of, what are you talking about, But the more and more you pay attention to your thoughts, the more and more you start to see like, dang, this thing is just, what the hell? It's like going all over the place. And the content of the thoughts, and you're just like, all right. But it's interesting because David Hawkins explains it as your thoughts are fueled by feelings. And if you can get to the base of the thoughts, not by trying to conceptualize, rationalize, think about it, and just identifying it and letting it wear out without fueling it anymore with more thoughts. It's funny how that works. The thoughts fuel the feeling, and the feeling fuel the thoughts. Because it just amplifies it, right? So it's like, all right, so if I just kind of just pay attention to the feeling and not fight it, because if it's making me feel good or if it's making me feel bad, and not fight it and just let it run its course, good or bad, I feel like there's this freedom that comes with that. I've never felt this before, I've never felt this kind of freedom. And a funny thing starts happening. You start feeling more and more in touch with yourself as a whole. It's just really interesting, But and I know everybody's journey's different, and it's like the mind. I'm starting to realize now that my anxiety was fueled because I was going through a really hard time in life when I had my panic attack from all aspects of my life, and I was trying to fight everything. I was trying to fight this feeling. I was trying to fight how I was feeling all the time just because I didn't feel good. And that ultimately triggered my mind to say like, okay, he's in fight or flight all the time. We gotta kick it up a notch and really, everything is a threat. And so that's what happened. Now that I look back at it, it's pretty easy to see how I got into this cycle. And it's pretty cool because now I'm working my way out of it at a much deeper level. And so just understanding things this way, the next time I do come into some crises in life and things like that, I'll just give myself the time and patience and love for myself to experience it and not fight it and not try to change it. Keep on trying to change things and it just makes things worse, by force. You're trying to change things by force, and it just doesn't work that way, for us. So anyways, I hope this video helped some of you. I know the concept is, for me, it was just so difficult to understand because I'm a stubborn person by nature too, and it's just like, and I used to use my mind for everything, thinking. I can think my way out of this, I can think my way out of that, I can think my way to this feeling to make me feel differently. That's how I thought life was, right? But this whole thing is completely different, where you can't think your way out of this. You have to feel your way through. And in the beginning, it depends on how severe your anxiety is. It could be bombard, next thought, next thought, next thought, next thought, next thought, next thought. Literally, tens of thousands of thoughts a day are all anxiety. Every single thought. And then you'll find some relief because your mind thinks about something else, and then you get so excited about that, but you don't realize that excitedness is a resistance to the anxiety, and then the anxiety comes back, right? So trust me, I been there, done that, know what it's like, but you can get out. And there are all these different type of methods. Some work for some people, some don't work for other people. This method, I feel like for me, because I was a person that tried to run from his feelings, change his feelings, used to feel ashamed of how he was feeling, sometimes guilty. This was a type of healing that I needed. And that's okay. And I've tried many. I spent tens of thousands of dollars, literally, on programs, thousands of hours on coaching calls during this 2-year period. Endless, maybe 20, 30 books I've read, either read on Kindle, in paperback, Audible, all the methods of spiritual teachings and everything. And ultimately, they were all... Now, the knowledge is great. Don't get me wrong. Knowledge is awesome when it's applied correctly. I was using it because I was running away from how I was feeling. All of these methods were used to run away, which is resistance in itself. And I just needed to just really feel the feeling, right? In Hawaiian, they have this term called ho'oponopono, where there's a Dr. Ihakala Hugh Len who really talks about it. Like, if you YouTube his stuff, I don't think he's doing lectures and stuff anymore, but it's the same concept, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool stuff. But anyways, oh shoot, I didn't mean to make the video this long, but yeah, I'll see. Maybe I'll make more videos later. All right, bye.